Back on the Fan and a little more history about Henson Park. We love rugby league stories, and let's talk about the only ever scoreless draw in the history of the New South Wales Rugby League Premiership, or the NRL. It was 1982, round 5, Newtown versus Canterbury. And you've got to think about the two sides. Newtown had the slashing young fullback Phil Sigsworth, Ray Blacklock, Chicka Ferguson, the prolific point scorer Ken Wilson, who could drop field goals from anywhere. The Canterbury side, the Mortimer brothers, Greg Bretnell at fullback, the Hughes brothers, and between them over 80 minutes, 33 scrums, 20 penalties, 53 stoppages, there was no point scored. A 0-all draw. Let's go to the match report, albeit there mightn't be many highlights.
Dull, boring, negative. I mean, how else would you describe a scoreless draw in rugby league? Rugby league, a game that prides itself on action, spectacular tries. But there it was, Newtown and Canterbury battling away at Henson Park last Sunday, playing out a 0-all draw. There were dropped balls and there were missed scoring chances. But I didn't find this game that wrote a page in rugby league's history so boring. The tension mounted as it became a possibility that neither team, for the first time in the game's history, was going to score a point. The defence was tough, brutally tough, and the pressure immense. And in this area, not one player showed signs of wilting. I found it somewhat exciting to be a part of rugby league history. The uncertainty of not knowing which team would score first, or whether, in fact, either team would score at all. Boring? No, not for me. And who was it that said records were made to be broken? I'd like to be around the day this record Canterbury and Newtown set is broken.
OK, let's hear more about that game from a man who played in it, a great player, Phil Sigsworth. He also had the greatest nickname. What's a packeter?
Newtown being ridden home by some enthusiastic spectators here. And Sigsworth's going to score in the corner, and that's as easy as you like. And Sigsworth just curved the Manly three-quarters up and ate him and spat him out.
Sigsworth, the chip. Girl after Harvey. Sigsworth. Sigsworth. Good fend by Sigsworth. There's a try. Right in front of the MA Noble, the Bradman Stand people.
Well, this is a great moment for the Fan. The one and only Phil Sigsworth on the program, Newtown royalty. Welcome.
Bossy, thank you very much.
Now, I'm going to throw something out of left field. This is my autograph book as a kid, where I was a regular at Henson Park. Can you remember the day that you signed this, Phil Sigsworth, with Cole Casey? Remember me coming up to you asking for that autograph?
That's my signature.
That is, yes, that's you. Now, we've just shown the 0-all draw game here from 1982. How about we start there?
Yeah.
What the hell happened? How could you play a scoreless draw across 80 minutes on a dry day?
Well, Rex said Kenny Wilson he could open a safe with that left foot. Well, he didn't do it on that day.
No.
So that's what happened. Yeah, it was 0-all, and strange. It was an eerie feeling after the game, and as if we didn't play. And we went into the dressing rooms, and it was just no one. It was nonplussed.
Yes.
But at 0-0, yeah, it was
74 years the premiership had been played. There'd never been a scoreless draw, and you were part of that history. It wasn't like something you're incredibly proud of. It was like, well, how the hell did that happen?
Well, the Jets produced plenty of things like that, mate, the unknown, so I guess that's what it was.
Let's talk about the life story. On the Fan, we love a local hero story. You are, and I know you played for other clubs, but your story is Newtown. Where did you go to primary school?
Erskineville.
High school?
Newtown.
Newtown.
Yeah.
Junior rugby league clubs?
Urco.
Erskineville, yes, Urco.
The Newtown Hawks.
The Newtown Hawks.
Yeah,
beautiful
that's it,
stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, that's where my footy started. But I played Aussie rules before that.
Okay.
For the Newtown Angels.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So that's where I developed all my skills from as a kid. And yeah, I used to go to the Newtown Police Boys with Johnny Lewis, and he was the one who taught me, you know, how to skip. And if it wasn't for that lesson he taught me from skipping, I might not have been as nimble, as quick on my feet as I was. So, yeah.
What a moment for you with all that background, you know, local junior through and through, to play first grade for the Newtown club in 1977 when you came into first grade.
Well, I remember running onto the ground the first day when I played in first grade, and I had my name at the back page of the Telegraph.
Wow.
Newtown pick unknown to Mark Cronin. And I wasn't nervous before the game until I read the paper. And I got a bit dirty. I thought, I'm not an unknown. People know me. So, I mean, I was taken out of text a bit, but at the same time, it was always my dream. And as a 16-year-old playing under 23s and then going back to the juniors and captain in the Jersey flag and then playing in the semi-final for the President's Cup, and then a year later here I was playing first grade. It just escalated so quickly, and it was amazing.
During the COVID lockdown, we had the pleasure and the privilege, really, of recalling old games. And one of the games I did was the 1981 semi-final that people remember as the Bowden-Broadhurst fight. And fair enough, that's a famous moment. But what we did learn, if you don't mind me saying, is what a super player you were, because the fight is all we see these days. But when we showed the game in full, people went, to be quite honest, how good was Phil Sigsworth? He's like James Tedesco. Was that you at your best? You're only 21 and that was a big stage.
Well, it's funny, it was my first time in a semi-final with Newtown. And being at the cricket ground, I loved playing at the cricket ground because it was so wide and expansive. And, you know, I had two good centres there as well with Hetherington and Mick Ryan. And Mick used to say, come on, get out off me, so you don't worry about getting there in the forwards. And I guess those two guys were, and plus Kenny Wilson, of course, they were the two guys that, you know, steered me in the right direction, and I just, they gave me the ball and away I went.
I will ask you about the fight, though. I won't let you get away without giving an answer. It's the first scrum. You're in the thick of it. Did you throw any?
Oh, well...
Did you throw any, Sigsworth?
A lot of people said I was hiding behind people. But, yeah, and then I remember Rex Mossop saying...
Well, this Sigsworth still throwing punches there.
Any connect?
Oh, well, Tom Mooney, I used to do sprint training with me, and he said, Siggy, what are you hitting me for? I said, shut up. It's got to show I'm hitting somebody.
I said right at the top of the show, it's a pretty amazing statistic about your career. It's there forever. 3 grand finals, 3 different clubs, all 3 are losses, but it's all to the one club, Parramatta. What's your feelings towards Parramatta?
Well, I'll correct you there because I was with Canterbury in 1985. Although,
but
although I didn't get on
play
the field.
on the field. Didn't get on the field,
And, Parramatta are a great side. You've got to give it to them. And, you know, I blame the referees. It was their fault. You've got to put it somewhere. But, yeah, it's surreal as far as... At that time, I was the only person that had played with 3 sides that goes to grand finals. But also, had I stayed healthy for one more year,
Balmain.
I would have been with Balmain.
In
and I was Balmain in 87 when...
Wouldn't that have been amazing? 4 grand finals, 4 different clubs, 4 defeats. Well, what a trivia answer you would have been.
I had a bit of influence on the sides I played with, I suppose,
1983, the second grand final you played was for Manly. Newtown boy, then playing for the... Silvertails, Manly, the grand final try scorer, no less, is Phil Sigsworth.
They said I went from the outhouse to the penthouse. So, but we had a great side at Manly, and once again, we beat Parramatta in the semi-final. But they come back in the grand final, and I think that we didn't take it serious enough, or some of the players in the side, and that was the big thing. They thought, well, you know, we're going to beat this side and we just got to roll out there. But it wasn't like that. Parramatta came up with their best game, and once again.
And the last grand final is 1986, and sadly, Phil Sigsworth becomes another trivia question played. And what happened that 1982 at the SCG Series decider?
Well,
what happened?
I got called into the team on the Monday afternoon, and at that stage, Queensland were getting picked the Sunday before, and we were getting picked the Sunday just before the game, and they had 10 days to prepare. We had 2 days to prepare. And I thought, well, I was the only kid, or when I went there, no, there was this young, shy winger there called Philip Duke.
From country rugby league, so wasn't playing in the premiership, picked out of country.
And I said to him, I said, when they kick the ball back, I want you to come back with me, but I want you to stay on your wing because we can go back and go put a 2-on-1 on the winger. This time he's decided to come around behind me. The pass I thought was brilliant, went to him, but while he was on the spot, he'd already kicked it, followed his kick, unusual for him to do. But yeah, and then I was horrified, I was mortified, but at the same time, poor Philip Duke, he was, you know, and after the game, I didn't talk to him.
What a lovely finish to the story. All right, the big question to finish. Let's talk nicknames in rugby league. How good is it?
What's
a Packada? Who was the first? When was that first run past you? Was it when you became a rugby league player that was mentioned, or What's a Packet of Sigsworth was with you from a very young age?
Well, I was working for Singo at the time with at 2K Wireless.
John Singleton,
2K
yes.
Wireless.
Yes, yes.
And a bloke rang up and he said, "How's Chica going? How's Fergo going?" He knew all the players' nicknames.
Yes.
And then he said, "Mate, how's What's a Packet going? And is he going to play this week?" And I was under an injury cloud, and Singo's gone, "What's he talking about?" And he turned off the microphone, and I said, "I've got no idea."
Right.
And he said, "Mate, what's going on here? What's a packet? He said, "Phil, what's a packet of Sigsworth?"
So that was it. It was just a talkback call to a radio station.
Yes.
That kicked it off.
And we've fallen over on in the studio, and anyway, and it stuck. And I guess it's one of those nicknames. And people say, "Do you mind being called What's a Packet?" I said, "I've been called worse."
Well, I'd love to just sit here, just breathe the Henson Park air.
Isn't it beautiful?
I need to tell our viewers, you have driven from Port Macquarie to do this interview.
Yeah.
Because you are due to go into a little bit of minor surgery in Sydney with the nose, football injuries and all the like. But from there on, Phil Sigsworth is available for modelling.
Yes.
Singing.
Any career
guitar
sort of stuff.
playing.
Oh, guitar playing.
Anything.
Yeah, anything that's out there. So